Welcome to Recently Logged, where we're talking about the Home 2015 remake.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Recently Logged.
Oh my god. We do this every single time. We do the little welcome segment.
Well, we do the welcome, and
music.
then you're always like, hello, and I'm like, yes, welcome.
Oh my god. Well, yes, here we are. We're Recently Logged. We talk about movies occasionally.
We say too much. I'm Micah.
I'm Robbie.
And this week we're talking about The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Indeed we are. New Netflix film, new Sony Animations film.
We're a little late due to us having no sleep, due to us working.
I was about to say, for the first time that I can remember in my life, I stayed awake for almost a full 48 hours with no sleep, and that is not healthy. So
instead of waking up at 6, watching the movie, recording, and putting it out by 12, Robbie slept till 12, which was good for us.
Yes. I'm going to sleep in again tomorrow because I'm still tired.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do the same.
But in that span of time, we watched The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Exactly.
And we wanted to talk about it.
And I feel kind of silly because both on my YouTube channel, and Broadway Films on YouTube.
Kind of quirky, Micah.
Both on my YouTube channel and on here, movie-related things, and tomorrow is May the 4th. We're not doing anything Star Wars related.
Nope, nothing Star Wars
I don't have
related.
anything planned on my channel because I just put out a video. And I don't have anything on here that we're doing. We're not doing a Star Wars.
I mean,
movie.
I don't see that as a giant loss.
It's just sad because that's as much as I used to Star Wars used to be my favorite movie series ever. It's not anymore, but I still want to I still want to be nostalgic and watch them on May the 4th.
I mean, I'm planning on watching one of them at least tomorrow, just because I really haven't seen the prequels that much. I've seen the original trilogy the most times.
You haven't even watched the best one that many times.
Oh yeah, I should watch Return of the Jedi tomorrow. I've only seen it one time.
It's really good. Anyway, let's get into our basic facts for this episode.
Yes, indeed.
So, as I said previously, today we're talking about The Mitchells versus the Machines, which is a 2021 animated Netflix original Sony Pictures movie.
Wow.
It's rated PG. It's 113 minutes. Its little IMDb description is: a quirky, dysfunctional family's road trip is upended when they find themselves in the middle of the robot apocalypse and suddenly become humanity's unlikeliest last hope.
Well, yes. Yeah.
Its cast features Abby Jacobson, Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph. Who's this? Michael...
That's the director.
Michael...
Renata? Renata? Yeah, that's the only way I would think to pronounce it.
And Eric Andre.
Yeah.
Oh, and Olivia Colman.
Pretty good.
It's directed by Michael Ryanda.
I love it when directors play one of the main spots in their movies.
I actually didn't know that until just now.
You didn't know that? See, I knew that because I put together the cast list earlier.
And it's directed by Michael and Jeff.
It's co-directed by Jeff, yes.
Jeff.
Michael has the highest director credit, and then
co-directed by Jeff Rowe,
yes,
I would imagine.
Yes.
And it's written by both of them as well.
Yeah.
Not sure there's too much else specific I could give.
Michael's there's literally no other known information. No other known info about this movie. It's shadowed in darkness.
Oh, right. And a big selling point for a lot of people, it is produced by Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
I mean, that was a big selling point for me. I've loved their work so far, so.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about today. Spoilers for this, since it just came out
a few days ago,
yeah. Probably. I always forget to do for newer movies spoiler
I know,
warnings.
right? I realized afterwards that we did no spoiler warnings whatsoever on the movie.
For Demon Slayer 2.
Yeah, for the train, I was oh shoot.
We just spoiled the whole thing.
I mean, we kept it kind of vague. I don't know. But
at any rate, spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler warning. Here we go. We're going to go into our initial thoughts about the movie.
Basic. So, Robbie,
Yes,
What?
Micah?
What are your basic opening initial thoughts
Um,
on The Mitchells versus the Machines?
if I had to sum up my thoughts about this movie, I would say it is a very fun, hilarious, and visually creative animated movie with a lot of heart behind it. That's
Lots of heart, yes.
and unique animation.
Very nice animation,
It's
yes.
quite well edited as
Quite
well.
well edited,
The lighting looks great.
The lighting looks great, yes.
And the comedy, I think, and it works really well too. So I mean, it's just I don't know what, like, it's a good movie. It's a solid movie. I give it a thumbs up.
A solid movie. There you go. You don't even have to listen any further. We got a solid movie from Robbie.
Hey, if I give a film solid, that it's doing something right, I think.
All
I
right,
like
is that your basic thought?
I guess, yeah. I mean, like, if I wanted to go into more stuff about it, I feel like I'd just get into like everything.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
what did you think
so,
of the
so my
Mitchells
basic
versus the
thoughts
Machines, Micah?
of The Mitchells versus the Machines is that it's very fun.
Yes.
It's probably, so far anyway, I know we're very little into the year, but so far it's my favorite from the
I
year.
haven't even watched anything this year, man.
It's got really nice animation, some fun, unique, real feeling characters,
Yeah.
some pretty good voice acting, some great
Yeah.
lighting,
Yeah.
some pretty decent direction,
Yeah.
some cool stylization, and also some big-ish problems for me.
I mean, I wouldn't say big.
Mainly its structure, which again we'll get into
Yeah,
more
yeah.
later, and kind of its comedy. I know you said you liked its comedy,
like
but there's
its comedy.
just something about it. Like, it works in movie for me, but really, like, I think of almost any joke outside of like watching the movie, and I'm just like, ew. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it more, and let's go into the main discussion.
The main discussion, the half-hour part of the podcast.
Do. So, do you have any opening questions for us?
I do, Micah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
What do you think? This movie has multiple unique things going before it, but one of the unique things I wanted to chat about,
I wanted
to discuss, if you will,
Yeah.
is what did you think of the animation in this movie? It incorporates some different elements.
So,
as we already said, the lighting is pretty great.
I think this is a pretty freaking darn good looking movie. Like, I don't know, I love this new trend of like 2D layered on 3D animation. I think it looks really good. Like, even something like Bendy and the Ink Machine, the game, has kind of that style going for it.
Yeah.
And like, I just think it looks so good and almost like timeless. And like, man, I think it even works. I don't want to say better, but I almost want to say better than Spider-Verse, because some moments in Spider-Verse, it doesn't quite, for me anyway, it doesn't fully get the
I was
effect they're
about to say,
going for.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Whereas this, I never felt like it broke that 2D, 3D combination effect. Like, sometimes when I'm watching Spider-Verse, I just see kind of like the 3D models with effects put over them. But I
mean,
never
yeah.
got that broken. And again, they both look beautiful.
I was
It's
about
hard
to say,
compare.
like, this one isn't going for as thick of lighting spaces as Spider-Verse is. Like, Spider-Verse has a lot more grand sets in it than
Yeah.
this. Well, I shouldn't say a lot.
The
but-
colors in this, though, are gorgeous. This has an amazing color palette. I love this movie's like color and lighting. Like, from an animation standpoint, you got like a 10 of 10 from me.
Yeah, whoever did the like storyboarding and like concept art for this did a great job.
And you know, it may
Good
have
stuff.
been like a 9 out of 10, but then you have the dinosaur.
Oh my gosh, the
And-
dinosaur statue.
That's just too beautiful.
It's true art, Michael.
It is true art, and I love that it has like an in-universe random explanation for it.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you want to hear some fun facts about this movie, you can follow the director on Twitter, and he tweets out a bunch of cool behind-the-scenes stuff for it.
Right?
Or at least he has been.
like the weird-looking dinosaur
The
in the
dinosaur
dino
thing,
shop.
yeah.
But yeah, what about you? Like, I know I mean, like, there's not much to say. It's gorgeous animation, but I don't know. Do you have anything specific to add?
I think it gives it this kind of tangible feeling that 3D doesn't a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Which is what's so nice about it, especially for like emotional quote-unquote movies like this.
Why I think this is like my new favorite style of animation, like this sort of very mixed 2D 3D bag, is that it gives you almost total immersion. And whereas like you have like the 3D elements that look so good in movement, and then you have the 2D elements that look stylized enough to get you to not be like, wow, look at that 3D model walking across the screen.
Yeah.
Like something like, I don't know why my mind jumped to this first, but Zootopia. If you look at like Zootopia's animation, it looks very sterile. Like everything, like it looks good, but everything looks very.
The character movements are good in Zootopia.
Like yeah, but like texture wise, and like just looking at a frame of Zootopia, and Zootopia is just one instance.
Yeah,
most 3D animated movies are like this. They look very kind of plain.
I was about to say you get the benefit of the like smoothness and grandness of 3D, but with the benefit of like the expressiveness and natural raw feeling of 2D.
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot of movies that pull off straight 3D really well, like stuff like the How to Train Your Dragon movie. The third one looks like fantastic at its animation. So I'm not saying like 3D animation's terrible.
Claymation's still the best.
Probably.
Or stop motion of some kind.
Stop motion is the most timeless.
Stop motion is so good.
But yeah, like the animation is definitely a major standout of this, which is why we've probably given it so much time.
Yeah.
I do have a question though.
All right, what's your question?
What's your favorite scene or sequence?
Oh boy. For those who don't know, Micah asks this literally every episode.
It's just a good question, you know?
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting thing to talk about.
It's hard for this one.
Favorite scene or sequence? That's a tough one.
I was a fool and didn't think about it when we were watching it today.
I have no clue what I'm gonna pick. I might have to go with the road trip section. That's really fun. I really like
the road trip montage.
Yeah, like the initial montage is really fun. I really like the mall sequence too. That set piece is really fun. And there's a lot of like really funny jokes in that. Gosh, what else could I pick? I mean, the ending is obviously really great. That's like one of the standout scenes in the entire movie, but I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff here.
I think the opening of this movie is pretty rough. I wouldn't grab anything from the opening pacing wise, and like I would like think of a scene and then it's just kind of, I don't know. Like the opening of this movie for me feels very, very, very by the books to me, like just from a structure standpoint.
Like a paint by color animated movie opening.
Yeah, it's like a very animated movie opening, but also it's really poorly paced.
Yeah, I mean the pacing, especially around the first act, is pretty rough.
Yeah, no, the pacing isn't as bad as you go on, but
yeah, no, once the movie gets into the groove that it sets, it is pretty great.
But yeah, I think my favorite scene would probably be all the stuff, like I don't know, like all the stuff at the dino stop. Like I love that stuff.
Really good, yeah.
Like especially even when you get like the first introduction to the robots, you get a lot of some of the best like dialogue between.
I mean, that's all one scene. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's a long scene.
Yeah, you get all of the dialogue between the brother and the sister that I think is really good, and like you set up a bunch of conflict,
and the dinosaur jokes are pretty
and
funny.
The dinosaur jokes, and you have the dinosaur.
Not to mention the guy that likes fun is pretty funny too.
I like fun. Trust me, you don't like fun. No, I really do.
No, I really do.
People say
that about me.
But yeah, I would probably cite that as just my favorite section. Obviously, the ending is really good, but like that is the standout section in my mind. Like that's just the most memorable section where they're really hitting their stride and everything.
I was about to say
animation.
the dialogue and different parts of that scene are like segmented and paced really well.
Yeah,
it's a good spot of filmmaking.
And honestly, from there on out, I think is when the movie really hits its stride general.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, like there's some really good stuff. There's some pretty emotional stuff in the first act. But once the actual like second act starts is when it, I think, gets really good.
Yeah, like I'm not saying like the beginning is terrible, but like it was noticeably enough like weirdly paced that when I was watching it the first time, when they're at the Eric Andre Tech Convention,
The Eric Andre Tech Convention.
and like the robots like immediately go evil. I was like, wait, really?
Wait, what?
Like what? This isn't like a fake out or something? Like
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree there. Like during the first little section there, the first act, if you will, I was like, I really hope the rest of the movie isn't this roughly paced, because like it's not egregious. Obviously, I think it's pretty solid on the whole. It just really drags down the first part a little bit.
yeah, and I don't know, and a lot of the jokes and stuff too, and just like a lot of the setup in the beginning, I'm not the biggest fan of.
Really?
Like, I really don't like the whole laptop breaking thing.
Yeah, that scene isn't great, especially compared to some of the rest of the stuff. It doesn't give itself enough time for that to have the weight it
Yeah,
should.
and I'm really glad they didn't pull like a Merida bow thing, because I hate when they do that with objects like
Oh
that.
my gosh, Brave, Mike.
But like at least they toned it back. But I
Hey,
was
this
worried.
this movie works a lot better than Brave.
I was worried they were gonna kick off the movie with like a Merida bow type
Oh my
situation,
gosh.
and I was like,
Why'd you have to bring up Brave, Mike?
But like, as much as I think, I just lost her name. It's Katie, right?
Yeah, Katie.
Yeah, as much as I think Katie's character works, like I think Katie and
It's a great one of the most like empathetic and relatable characters I think to recent memory from a modern movie.
like Katie and Aaron, I think work really well.
Their dynamic is
especially
great, yeah.
together. I think like this opening just is so weird. Like it just feels so blocky for me, even with them. And like I don't really know how they could do it better. Like even like the Eric Andre Tech Convention thing, like with how they wanted to do
I
the
think-
rest of the movie, I don't know if they shouldn't have just like cut out the tech convention thing.
I wouldn't. I would just give the entire first act a little more padding, I think.
Yeah.
It just throws you right into it and doesn't give you too much time to like get your footing. I would just add in like a few scenes.
I would probably cut down from
beforehand.
some of the second act too if you did that.
Yeah, no, obviously trim out like some of the like more superfluous like road trip stuff from Act 2, but I think if they padded up and got you used to the dynamic of the family
Yeah.
a little first and introduced you to the Eric Andre guy
Cause like
a little bit.
like they had a bunch of conflict or plot points that could have been whole movies done in like the first 20 minutes of the thing, like from the robots turning bad with setting up Eric Andre and
Yeah.
the phone to the computer thing to the her getting accepted to college like immediately. Like there's just so much that happens in that
Yeah,
first
I mean,
little
it gives
bit.
you a lot of information and it just doesn't stagger it well.
Yeah.
Which is why I was saying I would just pad up the first couple acts, establish the world a little bit more before the robots come, that sort of thing. But that's just me. I think it would help it quite a bit.
Which I will say that like on a rewatch it was a little bit better.
Yeah, no,
I
I think it was better. I didn't think it was that bad to begin with, and I think it
Well,
was a little
no,
more watchable this time.
I don't
even.
think it was terrible, but yeah, it definitely was more watchable, and I think you get a lot more of the emotional weight in the beginning of the movie if you've already seen the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it provides a lot of emotional context throughout the rest of the movie, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, half the point of the movie, you know.
But do you have another question?
I do. What do you think from like a screenwriting perspective of the two defective robots? Like
They're
being
real.
there?
They're real interesting, and I thought about them.
I
a
just
lot.
think it's an interesting like thing to include in the screenplay.
Yeah, I was thinking about them a lot because they're very plot convenient.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And like they're funny, but do they really add that much? Like if you break them down, like they're there and they make sense from a plot point, like standpoint, like from like in universe, it makes sense that they would be there, but like they're there for telling the heroes what they can do.
I was about to say they're
and
kind of like the
comedy.
quest guides, they're like the ghosts from Destiny,
Yeah, which isn't terrible,
Yeah,
and
no.
I think they have some really funny stuff.
and
Like,
they have a great dynamic like in the family. I
Yeah.
would say.
They work well with the family, but again, with this movie, I think it's another one of the things that they kind of do in a weirdly paced fashion. Because I feel like they don't really have any good use in the dynamic. Like, they work with the dynamic, but they don't really do much with them.
I would argue that it helps, like, you know how in the first leg of the road trip, like, things are kind of tense, like, blah, 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 that sort of thing. They help provide that, like third party to talk to, so
Yeah.
that they don't like lose their minds in the car.
To where it's not just like an insane amount of conflict in the car.
Exactly.
No, like they make sense.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was interesting.
But yeah, it is interesting because they are just kind of conveniently there to be like, ah, yes, the kill code. We do have a kill code. How did she figure it out?
Well, I mean, they do mention it on the live stream.
Well, she wasn't watching that part yet.
Wasn't she?
If you recall, like, yeah, no, she said like obtain like a kill code if there is one or something like that.
Interesting. Because I thought after they first announce it, and then it cuts back to the "Do you have a credit card?" joke, which is quite funny. I thought. I mean, I guess we don't see her still watching it, but
I
still.
just assumed that she didn't, just from like comments about like
Yeah,
her
yeah.
not
No,
knowing
I'm
that
just
there
saying.
actually was. A
I
kill
always
code.
assumed that she knew, but I mean, I could just be assuming incorrectly.
I could just be assuming incorrectly. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I just think I don't know of too many like robots taking over the world, but there's a few defective robots that are nice, except for something like
Wall-E.
robots and Wall-E. Yeah.
But like I think there's some interesting plot, like convenient things that they just kind of there.
Yeah,
like
it
like,
just
like
feels
the
a
whole
little...
like even like the router going out and them somehow still being there when all the rest of the Paltech
Well, I mean,
goes
they
out.
weren't dependent on it in the first place. You could argue, but I mean, yeah, no, like there's stuff like that where it just feels kind of weird. Like, okay, yeah, I mean, they're robots, so they're kind of overpowered compared to the
and
humans.
it kind of lands, and some of their humor kind of lands into this weird feeling I get with the comedy from this movie, and I don't know what that feeling really is, but it's almost
What are you
like
talking
the
about?
like this like it's almost like I don't think the comedy is like that good, but yet somehow like I really don't know how to describe it.
I don't know what
Like
you're
in
trying
the
to say,
mall
like-
scene, like even their lines about like "Are you my mother now?" and stuff like that. I feel really. I don't want to say normal, but like very baseline humor, and even all of their internet jokes and stuff, and their Wi-Fi stuff. I feel like this.
I mean,
It's like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball style humor, but without all of the irony.
yeah, I was about to say it feels a little generic, I would say, in its comedy, but it's still funny.
Like, I think that's my biggest problem with this movie is that, like, there's so much that feels unique about it, but I feel like it's overshadowed by the plot and the comedy being pretty darn generic.
See, I wouldn't go that
Like, my
far.
opening joke, like, with the opening of the episode was that this is pretty much just home, and it pretty much is, and
I
there's
mean,
a
yeah,
lot of
essentially,
plots
kind of.
really similarly like this with like families or like a father-daughter relationship or like a father-son relationship. Just like it's a very generic story, even if there's a lot of unique elements in it.
I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't call that a fault with it.
I don't know, it just gives me this vibe, and like the comedy.
Star Wars is a very generic story.
Yeah, well,
It's- at least the original trilogy.
Star Wars was, yeah, kind of helped make that story
Yeah, exactly.
generic.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't hold story structuring against a
No,
movie
like I don't
unless
hold
I don't
it.
think
I
it's
don't hold it
watchable.
against
Like,
it per se, but like I don't know. I don't know how to describe what I'm going.
I
for.
really don't know. What
It
you're
gives
going
this
for.
kind of meh vibe to the whole movie. Like the comedy and the plot make me less likely to want to watch it again.
I feel like maybe what you're saying is like, given other movies you've seen with the similar plot line that were just kind of mediocre to bad, like this having the same plot, it kind of feels like, wow, why isn't this like bad? You know?
No, it's not
No?
even that. I don't know how to describe it. It's literally like I see this, I see the comedy, I see the plot, and I'm just like, really, we don't have anything like better than this? Like this is what we have? Like it just feels so basic, so uninteresting to me.
Micah just called basic.
No, and
the basic car.
And I know, like there's so much about this that's unique. It's got like the protagonist is really unique. The relationships are all you like there's so much about it that's unique. It's even stylized in a way that's pretty unique. But like I feel like that uniqueness feels so false or surface level to me.
Purely aesthetic kind of thing.
Yeah, purely aesthetic almost, because underneath it's pretty much just your average kids movie with your average structured plot that has the whole emotional reveal at the end with the average style villain and pretty average feeling like it's from 2010 comedy.
I guess I could see that. I could see that, but I wouldn't go to the extreme that you're going.
Well, like, I still really like this movie. I gave it 4 stars. I said it's like one of my favorite from the year so far. Which
it is my favorite. Yeah, I was about to say, it is my favorite from the year.
But, like, just the entire time, both watches, that kind of overshadowed, like, my watch for it. And like I said, it feels similar to something like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Because Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs has a very similar vibe. It's very similarly structured. And it's got, like, a very similar comedy. But it does something like I don't know. Do you know what I'm going for
that
there?
That X factor, Mike.
Like it's got something that like makes the comedy that's like that usually come off ironic, and like that is the joke, that it's the comedy like that.
Yeah. I mean, I having seen the movie, I get what you're saying, but it's just not that big of a flaw to me, you know?
Yeah,
but I mean that's your opinion. So
yeah, and I'll stop talking about this.
I was about to say we spent like 10 minutes just.
I'm doing a really bad job
to describe
why I feel kind of weird about this movie. Why I don't think it measures up with a lot of like new animated movies, and I think that's the thing. I wouldn't be so on this about it if it wasn't for so many people around me being like, oh, it's the next Spider-Verse, it's the next Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
I mean, I think it's definitely a few pegs down from something like Spider-Verse or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
People keep comparing it to all of these, like,
because there are other Lord and Miller movies,
some of my favorite animated movies, and I'm like, it really just doesn't measure up. Like for a Sony animated kids movie, I would be great. Like, yeah, this is like pretty darn good. It's better than most DreamWorks, Sony, Disney movie that comes out. Well, have they even put out like a good movie?
They put out
Despicable
like
Me?
One good movie.
But yeah.
I get that. But yeah.
Do I have another question?
I don't know, dude.
What do you think of Pal as the antagonist?
I actually really like Pal, and like even though she gives some pretty heavy, like meat-fisted monologues a lot of the time, I still really like her as a villain. I just wish, like I said earlier, they would have padded a little more of the first act where like it shows Eric Andre.
Yeah,
with
pad a little bit with Pal.
Yeah, like.
And
have her feel like a more like natural part of the world, and like everyone actually has like a positive feeling about like digital assistants and stuff, which isn't necessarily like the baseline for the real world.
They use Pal like once, like normally. Like,
yeah, I was about to say Katie
uses Pal once
for the flight
tickets, and that's it. So she seems pretty obsolete anyway. And then, like, you spend literally 2 seconds. Like, Eric Andre is like, you've always meant so much to me.
Just keep calling him Eric Andre. Okay.
And then he throws it away. And that's it. That's all the setup you get. And you know Pal's going to be the villain. Like, unless they're going to pull a twist, which is, they don't do.
Yeah. And that would have been really dumb, dude.
No, it would have been. But, like, there's so little time. Like, Pal gets 2 seconds of not being the villain.
Yeah. No, I really like usually I'm not going to say usually, that's a generalization, but sometimes in like kids animated movies the villains can feel really dumb and like just
No, I don't think she feels
filler,
dumb.
but I'm saying like this is an exception to that. I'm saying like wow, like even though she has very obvious like motivations and a very obvious point, like she doesn't feel boring or like an uninteresting villain to the movie.
I think the only part that I didn't like big time about her, and it feeds into that, I feel like it feeds into that like this feels so normal vibe,
Uh-huh.
is that while they have this big blaring music and all of our heroes are separated and doing their own thing, she's giving a super generic monologue about humans. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
that whole thing in the third act where she pulls out the video, that bothers me. Like, she
Yeah.
pulls out the video, she's like, what's the point? Like, she's giving this monologue about why humans suck to just a bunch of robots.
I know, right? I always think about that. I'm like, she has like the robots like in a little like command center. I'm like, why not just have like an actual like computer inside the like inside your factory doing all of this,
Right.
instead of a bunch of robots acting like humans doing it.
Right, and like it's just
I don't know.
that like and that leans into what I was talking about earlier. If it feels so like really this is the best we could do, that like when she's just like sitting there giving like just this very basic like, oh, look at this family, they're so flawed. Humans sure aren't worth saving. And like I'm just like, but this isn't even the main point of the movie. Like the whole emotional like drive of the movie is Katie and Mitch. Yeah, Mitch. The Mitch Mitchell, right?
I think so,
Yeah.
yes.
Katie and the dad. That's the emotional like thing of the story. Is essentially
That's
Katie
that's the core of the
leaving.
movie.
And like you got the brother, he's sad about it, which like honestly like they do such a good job with his character.
For real though.
And then you got the dad being typical animation dad.
Typical animation dad.
poor dads in animation. They
I
got
know,
a bad
right?
rap.
That's why Robots is my favorite animated movie, because it has a positive dad role model. He was an A24 dad, Micah.
Right? Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like animated movie dads get like a terrible rap. And this is no exception. But like I feel like you have that, and then this feels kind of just like, listen to the villain giving their big speech.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little just like tacked on, but I mean, she obviously needed a motivation for like the movie.
Yeah, but she had already stated her motivations. She even had like the whole thing with Eric Andre being like, "Oh, don't say because love," and I liked that scene.
Yeah, no, that was a good scene. Excellent scene, I must say.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you have another question?
I do. What do you think of? We mentioned it has a unique animation style. What do you think of the way its exaggerated cartoon like expressiveness, which if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. What do you think of how that incorporates into the movie, and how I think it's a narrative device to help put us in the mindset of Katie more.
Yeah, I was about to say like it really works.
And I think that's like
the whole
to
story
its strength. Yeah,
being from Katie's perspective. Honestly, I feel like, and this is just like personal headcanon, it is a quote unquote live action movie, and through Katie's eyes, she sees things as, because it opens up with that picture frame of humans, and like I'm like, and not like, oh, there's actually a live action movie taken. I'm just saying like because the movie is from Katie's perspective, it is this goofy animation.
You know, actually, honestly, I was kind of thinking that like in my mind, I'm like, I wonder if this is like an exaggerated version of what's happening just because Katie is so obsessed with movies, you know?
Right? Like they do so much stuff that where they're like, this isn't a movie and this isn't gonna happen, and they literally have it happening. Like you could go all like full in depth like Pan's Labyrinth style.
Like...
No, you could go full Pan's Labyrinth style theory of being like this is all taking place inside of Katie's imagination.
Yeah, I mean, like, and even then, that would just like it would be all the better for it. Like,
yeah, but like the animation and like on its own is very fun and stylized and gives you in that. And then not only that, but you have like even more like Katie 2D stuff popping over it, which is really fun.
I was about to say, like, just the more rewatching it was very helpful because you notice even more of like the small details, which I mean, like, I like to think that it's a way to visually punctuate what Katie's thinking a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said earlier,
it's so good.
Because like I'd like to mention, I'm being pretty hard on it.
Yeah,
right
I was
now.
about to say, Mikey, you sound very like you didn't like it very much.
I'm being pretty hard on it, but like Robbie said earlier, there's a lot of heart that was put into this movie. Like, and that's what shines through. As much as I will like be like, oh, I didn't like this, and it kind of it's kind of always there in the back of my mind while watching it. What really shines through is the heart that was put into the movie.
I was about to say, what shines through is that freaking amazing emotional core and family dynamic with really great animation around it is really what makes this movie so special.
Yeah, and like you have so much detail like that's punctuating, and you see all this detail and love that's put into it. And really what works so well about this movie, and what needs to work so well, is Katie, the dad, and the brother. The mom, whatever.
I was about to say, she's like the most underwhelming part of this, I think.
She's there for posy jokes.
I mean, the posy jokes are pretty funny.
Yeah, no, the posy jokes are funny, but still. Like, there's so much heart, and I wonder, I don't have any information on this, it wasn't listed anywhere on IMDb, but at the end of the movie, right at the beginning of the credits, you have the real Mitchell family thing, and it's from the main director.
Yeah.
It's his family. And like, I wonder if this is inspired by something he
kind of
went
like
through.
La La Land is to Emma Stone kind of thing, where it's like semi a biopic about her moving to LA.
Yeah, like where it's like, this was like my experience, and then I took that experience, made this family to express it, and put them through these situations.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if there's something like that behind it, because it feels so personal and real.
I was
through
about to
some
say,
of those elements.
Me being like literally the same age as Katie is in this movie, and having just graduated, and I want to go to film school. I was like, bro, she's literally me.
Hey, look, it's literally me.
Exactly, yeah. Bro, when they started showing the archive footage, and I'm like, wait, this is 2003. She's like 1 year old. I'm like, bro, we're probably like canon the same age. How is this happening right now?
Canon, same age. I mean, yeah, she's going to college.
Yeah, I was
in
about to say.
2020, canon in the movie.
It's weird. I don't know. It's just because I've never had a protagonist in a movie that like fits me that well.
You're gonna go and do the slip and slide in the dorms.
Yeah, sure. I mean, slip and slides are fun as long as you got something good to pad your ending.
I'm making lifelong bonds.
Good stuff. Not to mention, okay, we didn't even bring this up. What's your favorite other movie reference in this movie, Micah? Because there are a lot of them. Quite a few.
Dang, I'm blanking on all of like the specific yeah, duh. This was just one of like the most memorable things, like funny things that they did for me personally, was the stupid Mad Max joke with putting
Oh my god.
like, they reference Mad Max several times, but like when they actually put Monchi on the front.
I was actually going to say that as my favorite one, because Monchi being strapped to the front of the car is not only a great payoff to the Mad Max thing, it's also a really funny and inventive use for a one-off joke.
Right.
That becomes like plot relevant. I think it's really funny.
I think it's funny. I love Monchi. It's like, and like Mad Max.
Also, I love Muscle Monchi.
Muscle
in the,
Monchi
in the 2D.
2D,
Yeah.
2D Muscle Monchi.
Quite good.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, there's like tons of movie references sprinkled throughout this.
Not to mention Dog Cop 5 is
Dog
literally
Cop.
cinema. It's so good.
They better release me some Dog Cop movies.
I was about to say,
sometime.
I was telling Micah on the rewatch that they should on the Blu-ray have like a Dog Cop supercut where it's like a minute and a half long short film.
Yeah,
with all the Dog Cop stuff.
Even if they did and I know they don't really have a platform with it like Sony anyway, because like Disney Plus exists, so Pixar can do their shorts and things like that. Because that's the perfect kind of thing for what I'm saying. Like if they did with some new animators made some Dog Cop shorts, I think that would be amazing. What about a Jade Runner 2049?
Okay, the Jade Runner 2049 username. I'm so glad you saw that the second time because it's so good.
But yeah, Jade, I was about to say the main love interest, but their relationship, or quote unquote relationship, is hardly in the movie.
Yeah, I was about to say it's hardly in the movie. I was just gonna say like Katie's friend that she hasn't met yet from college.
But Jade,
The Jade Runner
her
2049.
username on Instagram is Jade Runner 2049.
It's so funny.
I appreciate it.
That's what bumped it to a 4 instead of a 3.5.
Yeah, I almost gave this a 3.5 on the rewatch.
I can see it. If I was being super cynical, I would give it a 3.5.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you like go super cynical on this movie, there are several things that I would be like, which I have been a little bit like, on it. But like at the end of the day,
who cares?
yeah, what you get at the end of the day is the message of the movie, and you get the heart of the movie, and you get the fantastic performances from those three main leads. Mm-hmm. And
you get all of the literal comedic gold of Monchi the pug, which honestly, I think that's all of the stuff involving Monchi is honestly the funniest stuff.
Right. I think like Monchi's great. I think using Katie's film as her way to express herself as a character, like a lot of times in movies, you'll have filmmakers who are just making like weird films and they don't really mean anything. Like even something like Frankenweenie, he's making movies, but they don't really mean anything.
I was about to say, I don't think for Victor's short film at the beginning of Frankenweenie really recontextualizes anything for
Whereas
him.
Katie, and she even says like her line of "This is how I experience stuff." Like her short films and stuff in the movie are such a great way of like showing a stylized version of even the stylized version of what we're getting.
Exactly. No, the use of Katie's actual like filmography in the movie is brilliant. I think like that's honestly one of the smartest things that this movie does.
Yeah, no, I love that in it because like a lot of things would just have her making stupid films because
oh my gosh,
going
Micah,
to film school.
I saw on Twitter someone had like paused the movie to see like the different flaws popping up when they did the scanning thing, and one of the flaws was makes goofy films because she's afraid that if she actually tried to make something good, she would fail, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh my god,
dang!
Please help me! I have been emotionally destroyed.
Dang.
And I'm like, yikes. Yeah, no, there's. Oof.
No one cuts deep.
Yeah, no. Like I wish there's so many like good character stuff. Like the screenplay understands these characters so well.
Yeah, and that's why I really
so
said like I feel like this has to come from a personal place from the writing.
Yeah.
Like especially the way they frame up the opening and the credits. Uh-huh. Like I'm like, come on, this has got to be.
It's got to be based off of something.
Because like, wow,
it feels so real.
Such an amazing job at making the relationships feel so real and so natural. Mm-hmm. And for as much as some of the stuff in this feels unnatural to me personally, some of the comedy and stuff,
which it doesn't to
at
me.
the end of the day, what you get is just that natural like relationships
Delicious.
and conflict that doesn't feel stupid.
Oh yeah,
the conflict never feels stupid.
It doesn't feel manufactured, which is really like something to praise in the modern kids movie landscape.
Yeah, and like even like that thing where I said with the robot or pal or whatever playing the clip of like Katie saying that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they even didn't give it as much attention as a lot of movies.
Yeah, I was about to say that could have been
manufactured conflict.
I was about to say that could have been the entire like third act conflict for like something like I don't know, the Smallfoot or
just like
something like that, something dumb like that.
Yeah, kids movies or family movies or whatever
they're notorious
do that
a lot.
Man. They'll have something where somebody agrees to do something, a character says something, something behind somebody's back. It comes back at the end,
and it comes back after they've grown.
Right after they've grown so much together, and they're like, "Oh my gosh,
I can't." It was all a lie.
This? Like even the movie we just watched upstairs, 10 Things I Hate About You, does something similar and then resolves it in a way that I think doesn't.
It handles its reveal upset at the end quite well, and so does this.
And this does something relatively similar.
Yeah,
but that just shows the kind of I guess I would say maturity it handles its characters with.
No, yeah, no, I would say maturity. That's a good way to put it.
Which is funny for this movie.
Yeah, no, it's in conclusion, it's a great movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say great. I know four stars is pretty high up there.
I
would say really good.
My qualification for saying something is great is if I rate it 4 or higher.
I would say it's really good. I would say it's a really good movie. I don't know if I'd go great. I feel like great for me is 4.5.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's your prerogative.
Like great, like is 4.5, 5 for me. You know, like if I'm like that's a great movie, I'm like
movie.
I fully endorse that movie. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add for this?
Another question.
Yeah, because I feel like there could be some more stuff that we could talk about.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've covered a lot of the main stuff like that I would want to cover, you know?
Yeah, like like what I'm thinking is like I'm sure there's a lot of smaller stuff that we could break down and talk about, but
I think okay, here's something I wanted to bring up. With the mom,
the mom.
just the mom, I think. Because obviously she's there to like help the dynamic between Katie and her dad, obviously.
Yeah.
In the third act, she's just kind of there because they've already grown like past that, obviously. And I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of her in the third act. I think honestly that's the only joke that doesn't quite land with me.
Yeah, I didn't think that joke landed well either. Like the mom going crazy.
But I've never been crazy about like the overprotective like mama bear kind of jokes in most kids movies. I don't think they work very well most of the time, but
like in as much as and I feel like this is stupid of me to say, but I thought this both times I watched this. As much as this movie is like obviously unrealistic, I felt like it was unrealistic for even their universe.
I was about to say
that
that's
she
the
just
only
kind
time
of
the
goes
universe
crazy
feels,
and like destroys these robots literally made to
be unbeatable,
and they can literally like separate their body and like wrap around things, and yet she's like just destroying them because
no, honestly, I was gonna bring that up because that's the only time the movie feels like it breaks the logic of its universe a little bit, which I mean obviously not to like its fatality, like oh no, it's a bad movie now.
No, that is one point where I feel like it breaks its own, like I said, it feels stupid for this movie to say for this movie because there's so much stupid stuff that happens.
But it is a very grounded movie in its own universe.
But I feel like that is one thing that breaks its own logic.
Yeah, I mean, like, sure, I'm sure some people found it funny. It just wasn't my taste, you know?
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up because, like she doesn't have much to do in the third act.
I feel like there's a joke like that in something like I feel like there is in like something like Croods, and that's the level, that's the quality level that kind of joke is put for me.
Oh my gosh, I think you're right. I think something like that does happen in Croods.
Yeah, like that's the quality level joke that I put that at.
Yeah.
Which isn't terrible.
Not terrible.
I like the Croods, like the first one anyway.
Yeah, the first one's pretty good.
But like that is the tier level of movies funny, that actually. I would put that kind of a joke at.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that up because that's like I don't want to say the biggest problem I had with the movie.
That's the biggest problem.
But like that's the scene. That's the thing that sticks out in my mind is like if I could change something, that's what I would change.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of stuff like that feels very plot convenient for the movie for me, and I feel like that plays into what I was saying earlier. It feels not lazily written for like obviously the main conflict of the story. Which again is kind of why saying some of this stuff as critiques makes it kind of obsolete, because what matters is the relationships. Yeah. But like a lot of the jokes and stuff they use for plot convenience, like even like all of the people with the free Wi-Fi getting into the thing, like there's so many.
that was kind of dumb. Yeah.
There's so many jokes that I feel like are kind of dumb just to allow plot convenience, if that makes sense. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't say just to allow it. It's also put there to be funny. Like,
yeah, but I feel like it doesn't work super well for me. Like the mom kind of going crazy and taking out the ultra powerful robots. Stuff like that is what kind of, there are a couple.
Yeah, it kind of drags it down a little. Yeah, no, I could see that.
I don't think that's
valid.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's a big thing.
Yeah.
But like the scene where they're like they turn off the Wi-Fi. I kind of dislike that scene quite a bit.
I mean, I thought it was kind of funny. Like, it obviously not like great. But,
Yeah, it
like,
just used those very typical like, oh, unbox this in front of me. Does anybody?
Okay, that's the dumbest one for sure. I thought can someone does anyone want to take a picture of my food one was pretty dumb, but like the unbox this in front of me was even dumber.
And even like the make the sacrifice to the router.
Okay, the
thing.
sacrifice was kind of funny though, my God.
Like that one was a little bit more, but just like that whole montage of things falls into that category of like I'm just like
I just kind of rolled my eyes a little,
Yeah, I'm just kind of like this is kind of mid for me.
Yeah, it just feels like low-hanging fruit, kind of like like anyone who spent any time on the internet would make those jokes.
Yeah,
like, but
which I saw somebody else, I forget who used that as a criticism of the movie. Who was like a lot of the stuff in this is just exactly what you would expect anybody who went onto the internet to make jokes about.
I mean, like obviously there's some pretty broad critiques of the internet and internet culture, but I mean like. I can't really fault the movie for that. It works pretty well most of the time. Yeah, again,
a lot of this stuff, and that's the problem with like a lot of the criticism of this stuff is a lot of this stuff is very minor and treated as very minor because at the end of the day, what matters
is the pal villain plot isn't the main focus of the story. Yeah. It's just what drives the actual important part of the story.
Yeah, it's the conflict that leads to the main conflict.
Yeah, it's the conflict that is forcing Katie and her dad to finally reconcile.
It's like the whole Shaun of the Dead. It took an apocalypse for them to change. It took an apocalypse
for him to change. Exactly.
Oh look, there's a creepy little silverfish going across the floor.
These things are horrifying. Oh my gosh.
Honestly, the creepiest bugs in
existence. This is what we get for recording in the basement. I hate those things. They're like millipedes, but like if millipedes were like creepy
and could like come through drains.
Ugh. I don't like it. They have like so if you've never seen one before, they have like these weird spiky legs.
They are called silverfish, right?
I don't know because I feel like silverfish are like an actual like thing, and those aren't it. I don't know. Yeah, see, that's not it. We don't have silverfish. That's not a silverfish. Silverfish are creepy though.
They look super similar. No, see, look.
There. Yeah. What is that? What is that called?
No, that's not it. Hold up.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's just ours are a little grayer.
Because that says it's just a type of centipede.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it is just a type of centipede.
I don't know. I've called them silverfish.
Yeah, we've always called them silverfish. They look really
similar to silverfish.
Yeah. And I mean, they come up out of drains. But this is completely off.
Bug walks across the floor, recently logged, gets completely off.
Welcome to Recently Logged, the bug cast.
The bug cast, where today we're breaking down some of our favorite insects.
I'd listen. Insects are pretty interesting.
I would listen. I love, hey, I want to take an entomology class.
I mean... pretty based, I should say.
Yo, if you know any college courses for entomology, based. Hit me up. I need to pump the entomology into my veins.
Mike, you can quote me on this. Entomology is based. But yes, let's go ahead and get into our closing thoughts.
Yeah, I don't really have too much.
Yeah,
more...
wrap this up in a nice little bow.
Yeah. Okay, so we Google image searched them because we found the little guy.
Micah went over and took a picture of the.
And they're called house centipedes.
And they are freaky,
look them
man.
up. Like
freaky.
I'm sure you've probably seen them. Apparently, they're an invasive species.
Of course, they are.
That has taken over, and they live really well in houses. Ugh. That's their first place they go, which is why they got the name house centipede.
Yeah, they're freaky.
But yeah, look them up. They're creepy. I can't believe that's only 15 legs.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it says, says with up to 15 pairs of pairs.
Of okay, legs. I was like, that's like 30 legs, but
okay, but yeah 30 legs. Okay, but still, look these things.
Yeah,
up.
They're freaky, man. One walked right into the studio, if you can even believe it.
Hey, look, here's a how to kill house centipedes.
Oh my gosh, that one looks really big.
Well, no, that's how they look if you zoom in. Look at this picture I took of one.
Creepy. Ooh.
They're horrifying if you look at them up close.
Okay, wow. Okay, this is the closing thoughts segment for Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Welcome back.
Here we go. Who wants to go first? Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, do it.
So yeah, in closing, I think this is a really fun movie. I think it's a really sweet movie. It's got a lot of heart. It's got some, unique, not inherently groundbreaking, but pretty, like, forward moving stuff in animation and story and characters. It has some personal qualms with me. I just feel like I said, it feels kind of surface level in some ways for me.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I don't think that takes away from the heart of the movie that I do genuinely think is really, really, like, well made and really, really from a personal place for the creators.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. It's a little hard to believe that this is, like, Michael's directorial debut.
Also, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks really good.
Like, as a debut, fantastic. Like, if you're gonna go up from here, if you can only get better from here, like, this is a great jumping off point.
Yeah.
To sum up my thoughts on it, it's very visually creative, which, I mean, obviously is one of the biggest appeals for me personally. I don't know why.
I mean, nice visuals are nice visuals.
I mean,
what are you gonna do?
It has a protagonist that I relate to pretty deeply, so it kind of gives it an edge in my book.
Hey, what is that? What is that lately? Is that just
What?
like a bunch of young filmmakers are starting to make stuff that, like, you got Soul and you got
I mean,
this and...
the entertainment industry, the internet has affected it so much that I
Yeah,
do feel like a lot of young filmmakers are popping up all over the place.
I feel like essentially the culture has turned around onto itself to where now the media is made about the people who are making the media.
Because content creation is so, like, public now. Like, everyone knows that, like, movies are made, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know. Anyway, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. Very creative visuals, super great emotional core to it, really heartwarming. The character dynamics are fantastic. A lot of the comedy is, in my mind, really great. But yeah, no, I just think it's a really solid movie. I would love to see what Michael works on next, honestly. Like, I don't know where he's going to go from here. And of course, I always love seeing another Lord and Miller produced movie.
Yeah, go check this out on Netflix. That's
Definitely.
the moral
I was about to say, moral
go
of
check
the story,
it out.
Go watch it.
Tons of people
It's
have
great.
Netflix. Go check it out. It's fun, whether you think it's a masterpiece or not. It's just like, it's a fun movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah, I mean, like,
with a pretty good message, especially if you're around like Robbie's age or even my age, going forward towards college. Same with Soul, though.
Thousands of dollars a day.
Like I said, like Soul and this are like the hey, you're graduating double feature.
I was about to say it's kind of funny actually that these two movies have come out right as I'm graduating, and I'm like, oh man, these are hitting a little close to home, don't you think? But yeah, no, man, it's hard to believe that those two like have come out recently, because like since I just got into movies like a few years ago, quote unquote, got into movies. Like, it's weird that like good movies are coming out.
Yeah.
You know,
you're used to just,
because
like,
I'm used to, like, anytime I see a good movie, it's usually like something old.
Yeah,
know?
and now like new good movies are coming out, and it's weird.
Wow, it's so weird. Ooh.
All right, but for time's sake, let's
go into what we watched this past week. We'll try and make it pretty quick.
Yeah, there isn't
Get
too
you on
much.
your way.
We were pretty darn busy
Yeah,
working this week.
Like I said, I got no sleep for like 48 hours. We were a little busy the past week.
So yeah, let's get that wrapped up pretty quick. All right, welcome to our final segment, our recently logged segment, really. We call it our What We Watched, but for those of you who don't know, it's where we talk about what we've logged on Letterboxd, which Letterboxd is like a social media film platform.
It is the social media film platform.
And we just go over whatever we've logged within the past week. That includes films and short films and sometimes
TV shows, yeah.
TV show style things.
What date are we starting at? Do you know?
We're starting on the 25th for what I would say. Cause,
okay.
Like, I didn't talk about from there on last week.
Oh, yeah, true. Okay. Then let's get into it. We got a bit of ground to cover.
All right. For me, I don't have that much.
Oh, wow. I've watched
it
a
all
lot.
on one page.
Oh, okay.
For
26th?
on the 25th.
Oh, you right.
I watched, or at least I finished The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I did actually talk about last time.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that.
I'm like, why are you bringing this up, Mike?
Never mind. We should start on the 26th.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the 26th we watched Train to Busan.
Yeah, rewatch, baby.
Very good. Always very good.
Kind of spontaneous rewatch. It was
always
quite good.
Always surprises me that this is actually good. Like I think about it and I'm like, oh, I remember that kind of bland
lame.
CGI and gray, but then I'm like, dang, but the movie is actually really good.
That ending scene is so good.
Bro, just all of the ending of this movie is so amazing. I gave it 4.5 stars.
I gave it a 4. I don't think it's quite there. It's that ending is amazing, but I think the Act 1, Act 2 transition is kind of rough. Honestly, I can see that.
No, I'm being
a lot of Act 2 is pretty bloated on the whole.
I'm being pretty generous.
Yeah, you're being a bit generous, giving it 4.5.
I really like Train to Busan.
Yeah, no, oh man, it's great. If you've never watched Train to Busan, go watch Train to Busan
with your parents' permission.
With parents' permission.
It is not rated, but it is got a TV mature.
It'd probably be an R just for the. I mean, it's a zombie movie. What do you expect?
Not really anything else in it.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah. There's not much else in it.
On the 27th, we watched Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. Rewatched Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure.
Heyo.
Still very fun in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun movie.
It's still funny that it's like an unofficial High School Musical sequel.
Yeah, for real. Like,
and apparently, they're like the version that's on Disney Plus. They cut out a scene. Like it's literally was.
Yeah, no, we had seen this before, and apparently it was a different cut of the movie
where they include a scene with Ryan in it, and the cut that we saw, which we were like, we told our mom about. The cut that was
on Disney Plus, yeah.
And then the cut on Disney Plus doesn't have it, which I was very disappointed.
I was disappointed, but it's not. I mean, it's about on the same level as like the worst High School Musical movie. It's probably a little worse
than the worst High School Musical movie.
But it's still fun. It's still a fun movie.
I gave it 2.5.
I also gave it 2.5.
Sum up what you did on the 27th.
27th. Did you watch anything?
Not anything else besides Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure.
I watched a pretty fun little short about Cajun cooking called Yum Yum Yum, A Taste of Cajun and Creole Cooking. It was on the Criterion Channel. We visited Louisiana a few weeks, I guess like a month ago.
I was about to say, it wasn't more than a few weeks. It was a while ago.
And it's interesting. I don't know. It was a fun little short. You should check it out. And I watched Brighter Summer Day, or rather, A Brighter Summer Day for the first time. One of the highest rated movies on Letterboxd. Fun fact. It's really good. Like, I don't know. It has like a 4-hour runtime. And I don't know. I had a lot to say about it. You can go read my review for it on Letterboxd if you want to. It's really grand in scale, and it's based on a true story. It's like an anthology movie kind of thing. So there's a lot to digest watching it. But it was very good. You should go watch it if you have never heard of it or anything, with a parent's permission, of course.
On the 28th, I watched The Psychology of Dream Analysis, Rian Johnson short.
Yeah.
I watched it for my Brick video, which is out right now on my channel, which also I am doing a giveaway on my channel.
Yeah.
Coming, I think the video should be coming out, announcing it in a couple days. It's my 100 subscriber giveaway.
Unless I unsubscribe, Micah, then will the video be
we're
canceled?
at 101 subscribers, so what if one person could unsubscribe and we'll be fine.
I'll convince Haley to unsubscribe.
Wow. But yeah, I'm doing a giveaway, so if you are interested in that, I'm giving away some movies with some custom covers, so that'll be cool. But yeah, Psychology of Dream Analysis was very good.
You're like listening to Recently Logged. I'm going to give away some movies. No, Micah, I don't like movies.
What did you watch on the 28th?
28th, I watched a few shorts, a few short films, if you will. First one being Werner Herzog, yes, Eats His Shoe, which is a 1980 documentary about a director who eats his shoe to help promote an up-and-coming director's film, and it was quite good, like very good.
He eats a shoe?
The short literally is him talking about like a lot of his philosophy in filmmaking while he's cooking his shoes. Like they season them, they put like garlic in them, like they cook them, and then like he gets to the panel that he eats the shoe which is like for the premiere of the movie.
Kill you.
I mean, they're like leather shoes. It's edible.
If they're leather, I guess.
Yeah, no, they actually, it's pretty funny. At the end, like, he only eats one shoe. Obviously, he doesn't eat both of them. And he doesn't eat the sole or anything, because those have, like, the tacks and stuff in them. Like, this is from the 80s.
Yeah.
And they, like, put the shoes in, like, amber at the end. Like, it's a really great short, especially for an aspiring filmmaker. It's got a lot of great stuff. I can't wait to watch some of Mr. Herzog's filmography, because he seems to have a pretty great grasp on filmmaking. So,
And then
I also watched Happy Anniversary, which is a 1960s short. It's kind of in the vein of something like a Chaplin movie or something like that. It was that kind of movie, like a physical comedy thing, which I was not expecting from the poster. Which is it looked like it would be quite depressing, but like it was just a fun little romp. It wasn't very great. I mean, I gave it like a 3 out of 5. So.
And then on the 29th, we watched the 2021 movie.
Oh yeah,
Godzilla vs. Kong, which was pretty bad, but better than King of Monsters.
my review for it literally is just a definite improvement over King of Monsters, but holy cannoli, these films are not my cup of tea.
I gave it 2 stars.
Yeah, I gave it 2 stars.
If you want to read my review, it gives some more detail, but like it's really
it's fine.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I think it's a pretty.
It would make
movie.
a better ride than a movie.
That one section I kept saying it would be a great ride.
Like
and
I know that's kind of funny because we have the whole theme park thing with Martin Scorsese, but this would actually make like a good ride in Universal.
Yeah.
Also on the 29th, we rewatched Knives Out, one of my favorite movies. Also while editing my Brick video, because I wanted to inject some Rian Johnson content into my veins.
Yeah, if you want to hear what we thought about Knives Out, you can go listen to our episode we did
featuring
Zach Cole.
Zach Cole, our cousin.
A good cousin. Good friend.
A good cousin.
A good cousin. Yes.
Did you watch anything else on the 29th?
I mean, technically, yes. I watched Early Man that night, like late that night, late enough that it was the 30th. And I had been looking forward to seeing it since 2018. I want to complete Aardman's filmography, which is the studio that animated this. I mean, it was about what I expected.
I wasn't expecting much, so I don't know. I didn't watch it, so I don't know if it was any good.
How did I describe it? Here's what I said in my review. I'm still pretty new to Aardman, but I'm finding that some of their films fall into the feeling of this is kind of mediocre, but in a charming way. And I think that's the best way to sum up how I feel about this movie. Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. It was a cute movie. Anyone looking for a movie to just turn on in the background, this is a fine movie to do that with. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I didn't watch anything on the 30th, but you did.
I did. I watched for the first time ever my first concert film, Stop Making Sense, 1984 film, directed by Jonathan Demme. I'm guessing Demme. I don't know. That's the guy who directed Silence of the Lambs, and it's a Talking Heads concert. Which, if you're unfamiliar with the Talking Heads, you should go listen to their music.
Should you, though? I don't think you should.
I absolutely adored this movie. Like, I adored it so much. It's now, it has dethroned La La Land as my favorite movie, like, of all time. And that's saying something, because I really love La La Land. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. I could probably talk about it for ages. It's so good.
But let's not.
It has cemented David Byrne as one of my favorite artists just ever. Like, on the planet. It's so good.
Then on the 1st, we watched The Mitchells vs. the Machines for the first time.
Yeah.
On the 2nd, I watched Teen Titans Go to the Movie, which...
Go to the movies,
I should say. Which is... very funny.
We should do an episode on it sometime.
But it's interesting. You could talk about it for a while. It's funny though.
But it is really
it's
funny.
More funny than anything the show ever put out. So yeah.
Oh man, it's funny. It's one of my it's one of like my quote unquote guilty pleasure movies. It's not bad, but
I gave it 4 stars.
It's pretty dumb.
Did you watch anything else on the 2nd?
I rewatched Stop Making Sense again. Because I really liked it.
Oh yeah, and then we watched that 22 show.
And we watched the Soul spin-off short or rather prequel
A short made off of my least favorite part of Saw.
about Tina Fey hating humanity or something. I don't know.
A short made off of my least favorite part of Saw.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.5. I said it was pretty harmless.
I didn't log it because I don't really log shorts usually.
Yeah.
Then on the third,
we
Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Yeah.
And 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
Which Robbie watched for the first time. It was a rewatch for me.
Yeah, no, this is the first time watching it. So, according to Micah, it was like essential viewing or something. I don't know.
No, I just said it was good. I think it was pretty influential to like this genre going into the 2000s.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's pretty funny. It's pretty inventive. I like a lot of the like character stuff in it.
The cast is really
good. The cast is really good too. But yeah, no, it's solid movie. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it
3.5.
4 stars.
I think it's pretty good. I have a feeling I might enjoy it a little more on a rewatch, maybe, because I wasn't like paying 100% attention to it.
And we stopped it for like 20 minutes 3 times.
We kept stopping, like taking these big breaks between like sections of the movie. So obviously that brought it down a little too.
Yeah, no, you should watch it like all the way.
But
through
I mean,
one
yeah,
time.
it was a fun movie. I'd probably turn it on like late at night sometime.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those like, yeah, it's like let's turn on 10 Things I Hate About You.
Throw it on.
Gather around. Let's throw that one on the screen.
But yeah, no. Watched a lot of good movies. I got a new favorite movie. That's pretty big in the context of my movie life.
That's pretty big, right?
In the context of if you care about me as a critic, quote unquote, which I'm not trying to be. I don't want to be.
If you care about me as a critic,
I think the fact that I have a new favorite movie is pretty important to that narrative of my life. But yeah,
time to go rewatch Lawrence of Arabia.
It's so good, man. Both Stop Making Sense and Lawrence of Arabia.
There we go. There's where your kind of favorite movie would be more Stop Making Sense, and my kind of more favorite movie would be Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, Stop Making Sense is on Prime right now. It's under an hour and a half, so go watch it. There's no reason for you not to go watch it.
Except for not liking the Talking Heads, which is very valid.
Okay, but Talking Heads is one of the best bands to come out of the 70s and 80s.
Not true, though.
And their music is fantastic.
Not true, though. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy this. Sorry for it being a day late. Thank you for understanding because we needed rest.
Is there any personal stuff you want to shout out here at the end?
Just like check out my channel because I'm going to do a giveaway and it'll be fun and you don't want to miss it. And I just put out a video.
Okay. I put out my first ever blog post on my website, which is linked in the description of this podcast.
Ooh.
And you can go read it. It was covering everything we did.
Is my channel linked in the
or
description?
not we. Yes, it is. Everything I did during the month of April, and it has some fun stuff for you guys to check out too. If you want to go read that, it is at robbiegrayway.com, and there's a blog like page that you can go to and read it.
Ha 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 ha, Robbie.
What?
I got another subscriber, so now you'd have to get 3 people to unsubscribe.
I'll get Luke to unsubscribe.
Oh no.
I got connections, Micah.
He'd do it for the joke.
Yeah. Okay. But we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Go watch Mitchell's versus the Machines. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Next week.
Probably Shrek the Third.
Shrek the Third.
Hopefully, if
controversial movie.
If we can get our hands on it.
So, yeah.
I don't own the trilogy.
Go check out The House Centipede.
Oh no! Don't no.
Bye guys.
We'll see you next week.